Hello friends, today we will discuss with the next part of female infertility, that is hormonal obstructions. Myself Febi Paiva, assistant professor in the Department of Zoology, St. Joseph's College for Women, Alapura. Here in hormonal obstruction, it is this infertility because of hormonal obstruction can be because of ovulation disorders, elevated prolactin, polycystic ovarian syndrome, or early menopause. As the name indicates, the infertility in ladies may be because of the fluctuation with hormones. So we'll start with the first one, that is ovulation disorders. We know that in the case of sex hormones, that is when we speak about the female sex hormone, that is estrogen, progesterone, LH, that is luteinizing hormone, FSH, follicular stimulating hormone. They should be in a proper balance, and with time, there will be some variation, and we can see that that balance is essential for all the proper management of all the activities during all the reproductive activities. Simply, I could say that. So, as ovulation is one of the major part of this fertilization or the reproductive activities, we can see that for the development and the release of egg, we can see that it needs a perfect balance of the female reproductive hormones. And we know that the release of egg, that process is known as ovulation. And we can see that if there is any disruption in from in the part of the brain, or there is regulate this ovulation, it may lead to a fluctuation, can cause a fluctuation in LH and FSH. Even slight irregularities in the hormones may affect ovulation. So next is the elevated prolactin, also called as this condition, I can call it as hyperprolactinemia, that is excessive prolactin. And this can cause a irregular, or we can say that no ovulation at all. Those ladies may be having a irregular ovulation. Normally, normal ladies used to have ovulation at the 14th day of the menstrual cycle, and every month from one side of the uh, side, that is from either from the right or the left. But then in ladies who are having a elevated prolactin, that is the hormone prolactin, when it goes high, it may lead to irregular or no ovulation. Second thing is that it can also affect the condition known as irregular periods. And at the same time, the symptoms like galactorrhea, that is milk production when the lady is not pregnant, can also be a part of this type of problem. Next, I could speak about the third type of hormonal obstruction causing infertility as a very common uh, issue between the ladies nowadays as the PCOS. Everyone might have heard about the term, or you might have heard it as PCOD. Here it is the same thing, but then this for the last term, that is it has been replaced as S, or for the D it is because this condition is not backed by a single symptom, but then it is backed by a group of symptoms. So to be called as a disorder or symptom, it is better to be known as syndrome. So we normally call it as polycystic ovarian syndrome. And here it is a problem which affect all through the female's fertility cycle. That is, it affects the women's menstrual cycle, fertility, the release of and the levels of hormones, reproductive hormones, insulin production, and also non-reproductive parts, structure or the functions like heart, the blood vessels, and also the appearance. And we can say that here, what is the problem? As the name indicates, cyst, and that too in large number, polycyst, and that too in ovary, so polycystic ovarian. And when such a condition, such large number of cysts develop in the ovary, it causes many symptoms, so syndrome, so polycystic ovarian syndrome. So before we move on, we should be very thorough with what is cyst. Cysts are nothing but, as you could see in the picture, these are small and mini. We could say that small, mini fluid-filled bags or sac which is present inside the ovary. So this picture shows the ovary, and here you could see this blue color shows the cyst, which is nothing but fluid-filled sacs. And what is the problem of having such so many cysts is that it causes starting releasing the androgen hormone, which is a male hormone, and which causes the override on the female reproductive hormones like estrogen and especially the estrogen. So what happened? More maleness towards the maleness will be caused because of this condition. So leading to like we can say causes irregular menstrual cycle, and we can see that in women with this PCOS, the ovary doesn't make all the hormones it needs to for a normal egg to develop or mature because of more release of androgen. That regulation, that positive regulation between the female reproductive hormones may lose. And so what happen is that those hormones which should be produced by a female for the eggs production and its release will not be produced, and they may start to grow and accumulate fluid in this egg, so that egg will be improper, and they start accumulating the fluid, but none of these eggs will reach the maturity, and instead they remain as small cyst, fluid filled cyst. So it is nothing but these different many eggs which start developing from the ovary, which are converted to cyst later on. So since no egg mature and no egg will be reaching to its maturity. So since no egg mature or is released, ovulation does not take place. And as we can see that, and at the same time when ovulation is not taking place, we know that once the egg is released from that released, then only there will be a release of the progesterone from the Graafian follicles. So here we can see that without the progesterone, the women's menstrual cycle will be very irregular or will be absent. So that control or that kind of relation between this hormone, or we can say the influence of this hormone is not seen. So there has been a irregularity in this menstrual cycle. So also the cyst produce male, and not only they remain and form cyst, they will start releasing the male hormone androgen, which prevent further ovulation. Next, last condition of this category is the early menopause. We know that um, once menopause happens, there will be no further menstrual cycle, and once there is no menstruation, like especially we know that it normally happens from the age of 45 or above, or like we can say that, or in some cases 40, 35 and above. But then in some cases this occurs because of some problem. It may occur above below 35 age, that is menopause, fertility cycle getting over before 35 years. Can you imagine? And this, although the cause is unknown, certain conditions are associated with early menopause, including immune system diseases, maybe because of radiation or chemotherapy treatment, or smoking also can cause early menopause. And if menopause happens before this, before too early, we can see that there will be too much of problem with hormones, and that can cause infertility. So that's all. Thank you.